Hi everyone, I'm Jocelyn, and I am grateful you're here. You're listening to the Starting with Gratitude podcast. This is a safe space intended to host meaningful conversations exploring all topics of the human experience. Every conversation starts with gratitude and remains rooted in gratitude. After you listen, make sure to join the community by subscribing and sharing. I am so happy you have joined us. Hello, beautiful podcast community. It's your girl, your host, Jocelyn. I feel like we are currently living in a time where a lot of truths are becoming unearthed. A lot of truths are making themselves known. And these truths are about the state of the world that we are in. These are truths about the society we live in. These are truths about our communities, about the people we are in relation to. And these are truths about ourselves. And some of them are uncomfortable. Some of them may feel abrupt or unnerving or disassociating even. And some of these truths require radical acceptance. And that is what I want to get into in this podcast episode, in this one-on-one convo between you and I, because I am so grateful to accept the truth, regardless if it is a truth that I want or not. And I want to get into that. But before I do, I also just want to express my gratitude to you all. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who brings my podcast episodes into your present moment. Like I'm so grateful for all of you investing in this podcast, in this space, and joining this growing community, and just downloading and listening or watching. And gentle reminder that you can watch all of these episodes, all of these interviews on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, there is a direct link in the description of every episode. But I just want to thank you all so much. Like, it really means the world to me. And every time you listen to an episode, it's just an affirmation to me to keep going. It's an affirmation to my passion, because I'm just so passionate about this podcast. And I really feel like we're building something really special and really valuable, and building something that's going to last, building something that is really contributing goodness to the world. So thank you so much for being a part of that, for being a part of this experience, this journey. And I am going to humbly ask that all of you who listen and tune in on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Reviews help podcasts so much. And ya girl, this podcast needs some reviews, y'all. So if you tune in on Apple Podcasts, just head on over to the show page, scroll down, and you should see the comment box with the stars, and just drop your honest opinion, your thoughts and emotions on how you feel towards this space, these conversations, and this podcast. And I would love to read what you all have to say. So if you have a moment, I would really appreciate and value your time and energy towards leaving a review. So yesterday, I had an experience that normally would have ruined my entire day. And as the day progressed, towards the end of the day, I sat back and realized, oh my goodness, that experience did not ruin my whole day. And I honestly was a bit shook, because it wasn't no simple experience. Like, this was an experience that normally would have really been heartbreaking. It was a pretty sobering experience that really just brought something to light that normally would have been really hard for me to accept, normally would have really had so much weight and power over my mood for the rest of the day, and it didn't. And that's when I just had my moment of feeling incredibly grateful to be becoming more accepting of the truth in a way that allows me to surrender to life as it unfolds, to really be so accepting to the point that I'm able to surrender to what is and not to how I think things should be. And after having that realization, I took a moment to write down some truths that I have recently really had to accept and have accepted. And some of these truths have taken a bit longer for me to like fully integrate and accept. But I want to share some of these truths with you and kind of slightly touch on what inspired them, because I feel like you may be able to relate to all of them or just some of them. And I think it's just so important that we really encourage each other to be more accepting and surrendering to life, regardless if life is unfolding the way we want it to, the way that we think it should, or it could have, or it would have. Just really inspiring each other to be more surrendering, to be more accepting, because it honestly has helped me so much. And I've really been dedicating a lot of time into studying and practicing both surrender and acceptance. And I slightly did touch on surrender in one of the recent episodes that I just dropped. So if you want to tune into that and hear me talk more about surrender itself, tune into that episode. But I want to share these truths that I wrote down with you. And I did share these truths on my Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram at with Jocelyn, you already saw these, but I am going to expand on them just a tad bit. So here we go, y'all. Let's get into this. I had to accept that my love is divine, but it does not guarantee to change, inspire, or awaken anyone. And that's okay. My love is simply to love, and it is not responsible for changing anyone, for transforming anyone, for awakening anyone in any way. And honestly, I know some of you can relate to this too, but there have been times in my life where I just love my love so much. I feel like my love is so powerful to the point where it can change someone, it can inspire someone to change. But how, first of all, loving is that love if it can't simply just accept someone the way that they are without desiring to change them? Because in that case, then the love is conditional. And something that has been a big lesson for me has been awakening to what true unconditional love is. But aside from that, it's just, I really had to accept the truth that my love is simply to love. And I can't burden it with any more responsibility than that. I've had to accept that my commitment to heal and grow is honorable, but I should not expect others to share that same commitment. Some people are simply not interested in healing or growing, and that's okay. And this acceptance has also had me really sit down and think about who I am choosing to surround myself with and how much I value healing and growing. Like, do I value it to the point where I need the people around me to be as committed to healing and growing too? And to a point, I feel like I do value it to that extent, because I feel like people who are self-aware are naturally inclined to really be a bit more committed to growing and to healing. And that is important to me. It is something that I value, because I feel like people who do commit to their self-healing and their self-growth are people who are mere reflections of my highest potential. These are people who are mere reflections of the parts of me that I really honor and admire. And I want my surroundings to be a reflection of the parts of me that I really love and value and honor. So that is something that has come with the acceptance of that truth. I can no longer really surround myself, or beyond that, I can't really choose to consciously invest my time and energy towards relationships that they themselves don't hold themselves accountable for their healing and for their growth, because it does impact me. Like, the people that we are surrounded by does impact us more than we know. And so that was a truth that I've had to really accept. And man, some of these truths and acceptances do come with a shift in environment, but it's necessary, you know? A truth that I've had to accept is that my self evolution will bring about new versions of me that others may not be interested in or may no longer be able to relate to, and that's okay. And touching back on the kinds of people who are committed to their self healing and their self growth, I feel like those people understand that when you are committed to growing and to healing, you are also just going to be transforming and changing and evolving consistently into new versions of yourself. And when someone truly loves you, when someone truly cherishes a relationship with you, they also acknowledge that if they truly love you, they are going to be accepting of every version of you. And that is a true love that I really want to call more into my life, because I do see myself evolving. I do notice myself changing. And I do notice that me evolving into a new version of me is causing people to not be as interested in me or not be able to relate to me as much as they used to relate to the other version of me. And I have to accept that. I have to know that it's okay. And I have to know that, to me, it's more important that I continue to evolve. It's more important to evolve to me than it is to satisfy others, than it is to be relatable to others, than it is to have others be interested in me. Like, it's more important to me that I am prioritizing myself and my growth. And for a while, I was noticing that there were moments where I cared more about what others thought of me, and it was holding me back from my evolution, from like really fully stepping into the progression of my growth. I was realizing and honestly becoming somewhat scared that I was no longer going to be as familiar to others. And that's okay. Like, really had to accept that truth, especially during these times where all of these shifts that are happening in our world are directly impacting our internal shifts. I've had to accept that my repeated mistakes may have been avoidable after the first time, but some lessons take longer to learn and fully mature into than others, and that's okay. This one came up for me when I started to reflect on past partnerships in my life and realizing how there were repeated patterns of toxicity in them. And I started to question myself, like, how did I allow myself to repeat those cycles? How did I allow myself to repeat like mirror reflections of those relationships that I know don't work for me, that I know don't serve me, that I know don't deserve me? And I had to really remind myself that, one, like, healing takes time, and like really integrating your awareness takes time too. And sometimes we need to repeat certain lessons to like fully understand it, to fully grasp it. And that's okay. Like, we're human, y'all. I've had to accept that my intuition, visions, and pivots won't always make sense to others, nor will I always be able to clearly vocalize them. And that's okay. I understand me, and that's what matters most. And I feel like this also touches back on others no longer being able to relate to or be as interested in new versions of me because my pivots, my visions, and my intuitions are currently guiding me towards my higher potential. And in order to reach my higher potential, I have to change, I have to transform. And sometimes our intuition, like, we have to understand that our intuition, our visions, and our callings to pivot really are so deeply personal. And sometimes we can't explain them to others. And we have to also really know that we don't have to explain ourselves. We don't have to explain what our intuition is saying to others. We don't have to explain why we're doing what we're doing or what our pivots are. And it's important to remember that as long as you are clear on why you are pivoting, as long as you are really strengthening your intuition and you know what it's telling you, not anyone else, just you, and you are clear on what your vision is, you are clear on your direction. And even if you aren't like fully clear on it, like as long as you understand yourself to some capacity, that's what's most important. I've had to accept that my decision to no longer give my energy to relationships that don't reciprocate the energy may cost me those relationships. And that's more than okay because I deserve better. I know you all can feel me on this, where like you realize that you're the glue in certain relationships. Like you realize that you are putting in more effort, time, and energy towards certain relationships. And you're like, you know what? I'm not getting that reciprocated energy in return. So I'm going to fall back a bit and see what happens. And then what ends up happening is that that relationship falls apart. It becomes non-existent. And then you're like, oh my goodness, like this sucks. Like I really was the entire glue to this relationship. I was the one that was keeping this relationship alive. And I've had to accept that if I'm really going to commit to only investing in relationships that reciprocate the energy, I'm going to lose the relationships that don't reciprocate the energy. And that's okay. I've had to accept that my confidence in my ability to achieve all my dreams is admirable, but I cannot do everything at once. And that's okay. All will unfold in divine time. Y'all, I'm definitely one of those people who feels confident that I can achieve successfully anything that I set my mind to. And I'm so grateful that I have that mentality, but having that mentality can cause you to end up doing too many things at once to where you're not actually being productive at all of those things. You're not really showing up as much as those things deserve you to show up, you know? And I've had to accept the truth that though, like, I can do everything, I just can't do it all at once. Like, that is my truth personally. Like, I can do it all, girl. Like, you can do it. I believe in you, but you can't do it all at once. Okay. You can't do it all at once. And it's all good. You're going to get to it in divine time when it's meant to be. But right now, you got to pick the ones that matter to you most, the ones that call to you most at this time, and allow the divine to assist you in that flow. I've had to accept that my genuine empathy and compassion for others is beautiful, but that doesn't make me a caretaker. And that's okay. I am no less compassionate because I'm accepting the truth that just because I understand you, I feel you, I empathize with you, I am not responsible for you. But that doesn't make me any less compassionate. Like, I think so many of us who are empathetic, if not many of us, all of us have experienced feeling responsible for others because we understand. And I'm someone who is so understanding to the point where, like, honestly, like, I'm so empathetic from personal experience because I've had such diverse experiences in my life to where I am able to relate to others. And I think that that's what these diverse, even traumatic experiences have gifted me, is the ability to relate to others. But there have been many times where, because I am so understanding and I know that deep down, people just need healing. People just need resources. People just need love. Like, it's led me to end up feeling responsible for other people. And that's not the way, y'all. Like, if you are someone who is empathetic and compassionate, that's beautiful, but you have to accept the truth that it doesn't make you a caretaker. It doesn't make you responsible for others. I've had to accept that my loyalty is true. And y'all, by the way, this is the last one. I've had to accept that my loyalty is true and faithful, but I do not need to prove my loyalty by staying where I am not valued. And that's okay. Loyalty is worthy of loyalty in return. And I feel like this is almost kind of a mirror reflection of like being an empathetic and compassionate person and like feeling responsible for others. It's like when you are a really loyal person, you like feel responsible to remain loyal, even when it's not really being reciprocated. And I just want to put it out there. Like, if you are a loyal person, like, first of all, shout out to you. Like, you're beautiful. You are a gem. And I love that. But y'all, we can't be loyal to people out there who aren't being loyal to us in return. Like, our loyalty is so valuable. Our loyalty is to be cherished. Our loyalty is to be just valued. Like, we can't, y'all. No longer. Like, we have to accept that when we pull back our loyalty from relationships that weren't loyal or aren't loyal in return, like, it doesn't make us any less loyal. Just like you not being a caretaker and taking on responsibility doesn't make you any less compassionate or empathetic or understanding of others. You pulling back your loyalty from people, from situations, environments, etc., that aren't valuing the loyalty you're gifting them and aren't gifting you that loyalty in return, it doesn't make you any less loyal. And we really have to be reminded of that. And that is the truth that I've had to accept, because I've found myself being so loyal and taking pride in my loyalty. And it is something to take pride in, but not to the point where your loyalty is essentially being wasted on people who don't deserve it. So, y'all, these are truths that I've had to accept. And I hope that you've resonated with one or more of them, and perhaps they may have affirmed something for you or awakened something in you where you're like, you know what? I do need to accept this, or you know what? Yeah, that is the truth. Because again, I really feel like it's important for us to encourage each other to really be more accepting, because it's life-changing, y'all. And I feel like, as I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, given the times that we are in right now, like, we're really, like, a truth that I've noticed is taking place right now is especially the one in relation to others. Like, we're really seeing how people navigate through life in general. We're seeing how people respond to change. We're seeing how people respond to adversity, to challenges, to problems. We're seeing how people just walk through this life. And I don't know about you, but I've had some pretty sobering. And yesterday, that experience that I told you about, like yesterday was exactly that. It was a sobering experience that made me realize how someone in my life responds to challenges in a way where they take no self accountability. And it really just it hit me all at once, because for a while I was holding on to the idea that this person is someone who takes accountability for themselves, or can take accountability, or will eventually take accountability. But yesterday proved that that is just not who they are. And I feel like this is happening a lot at this time. We're just realizing, like, who's choosing which path. Are you choosing to turn a blind eye to the truths that are making themselves known in the world right now and in our lives? Or are you actually confronting them? Are you actually taking responsibility? Are you actually holding yourself accountable? And I really just wanted to dedicate this episode to that. And I hope that you've enjoyed this. I know that I kind of went through all of this pretty quickly, but whoo, y'all, it was just, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful to be practicing really accepting the truth. And as I get older and as I grow wiser and as I just continue on in my studies of life, I'm realizing that, like, all I really want, like, all I really desire is the truth and what is real. All I want is what is real, like real people, real relationships, real opportunities, real passion, real, just realness and truth, y'all. Like, I value the truth and honesty so much, like so much. And I hope that you all really, really take a moment to just be grateful for all the people, all the relationships, all the communities, all the environments, all the opportunities that are honest with you. Like, because I know we've all experienced dishonesty. And man, if you're an honest and real and true person, like, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for walking in your light, in your truth in that way, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's, not as, soft or perhaps welcoming, but welcome the truth and honesty, however it shows up. Like, welcome it, honor it, value it, because there's nothing realer than the truth. So, anyways, I'm not going to go on a tangent, but I'm just so grateful, y'all. So grateful to be more accepting, more surrendering to life as it is, as it unfolds, and really be learning how acceptance is benefiting my life. And I directly saw that in front of me yesterday with that experience, and realizing that, like, wow, being more accepting of the truth and surrendering to it, like, really liberates you. It's liberating. So, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm so excited to share upcoming episodes with you. I have so many awesome conversations with incredible people. Like, it's so good, y'all. So tune in. See you in the next episode. I love y'all so much. Live in your truth. Be unapologetic about it. Stay committed to yourself and your self evolution. So much love and light and blessings to you all. Bye.